This is the yellow-purple palette. I'm going to show you how to make a color chart. You can see the yellows are on one side of the palette and the purples on the other. I'm going to take the violet gray and mix it with each of the yellows. Then I'll take the permanent rose and mix it with each of the yellows. Then the alizarin crimson with each of the yellows, and so on. So this is a puddle of the violet gray. Remember to clean your brush before getting more paint from a new color. First thing to do is to take some Naples yellow clean your brush, and then get some of the violet gray and try to make an equal amount of color from each pile. Nope, don't put it there. Put it next to the Naples yellow. The next square will be the Cinnabar Green Light Extra mixed with the violet gray. Once again, try and get equal amounts of each color. Place it above the swatch you just painted. Continue filling in the grid, mixing each color of the top row with each color on the side row. Here's another way of mixing colors for the chart. To do the row with the ultramarine violet, place small amounts of pigment on your mixing tray. Then take each of the yellows and mix it with the ultramarine blue. First, you need to use the Naples yellow, mix it with the ultramarine, and then put it on the square on your chart. To finish the chart, mix each of the purples with each of the yellows. You can protect your charts in a clear bag and use them for future reference while painting. This is the orange-blue palette. I'm going to show you how to get different mixtures using only two colors. Using different proportions of each color, you can get different colors. First, we're going to start with the French ultramarine. I'm going to make a separate pile for the orange and then bring them together in the middle. I'm trying to get about 50% of each of the colors. The first mixture is brown because it has more orange in it. The second mixture is gray because there were equal amounts used of the blue and the orange. You can see that the second mixture is grayer than the first mixture. It's grayer and cooler. This third mixture is bluer. It's a dull blue because it has only a teeny bit of orange. The last mixture has an equal amount of French ultramarine and translucent orange, so it makes a neutral, warm gray color. Now I'm going to make some mixtures with indigo and light red. I'm going to make two separate piles so I can drag a bit of each color towards the center. The first color is a warm brown. For the second color, I'm going to drag the pile towards the indigo to get a bluer color. For the third color, I'm using mostly light red and just a bit of the indigo. This will give me a warm brown color. To make a dark silver color that you could use to render silver pots or creamers, use mostly indigo and just a bit of light red. The next two mixtures will be using Aurelian yellow and violet gray. Violet gray is one of my most favorite colors. Together with the yellow, it makes a beautiful yellow-green. You can get another great color by adding more violet gray to the mixture. This last series is using violet gray and translucent orange. The first mixture is a dull orange because there is more of the translucent orange than violet gray in the mixture. The second mixture has a bit more of the orange than the violet gray, so it's a warm brown. The last mixture has equal amounts of the two complementary colors, so it is a gray. Remember to draw the shape of the highlight. Most times I draw the cast shadow also. For the midtone, I mixed Aurelian and violet gray. I like to test the color on a scrap piece of paper. I'm laying in the first wash, being careful to paint around the shape for the highlight. The light is coming from my upper left, so the highlight is off-center to the left. This board usually needs an initial wash before the colors look dark, and the washes tend to leave hard edges, so I painted the whole onion and not just the shape of the midtone. This is translucent orange, light red, and French ultramarine blue for the core shadow. Sometimes I pre-mix colors to compare values. I'll be coming back for this color. For the cast shadow, I'm using ultramarine violet and Aurelian. Notice I'm using colors from each of the families, some of the oranges and some of the blues. I'm mixing the yin and the yang. Cast shadows get lighter as they move away from the light, so I added more water. Here is where I use the core shadow color that I mixed before. The first wash and the cast shadow wash are completely dry. While the wash was still wet, I used a dry brush to pick up the wet paint at the edge so it would dry without a hard edge. That's French ultramarine and ultramarine violet for the darkest part of the cast shadow, which is underneath the onion. Light red is added to some translucent orange with some Prussian blue to be used for the core shadow. I'm using a clean brush with clean water to wet the dry paint along the edge. The paper towel then picks up the paint. This is to avoid a hard edge. This is translucent orange for the center of the onion. It will greatly help the illusion of the modeling of the form because it is the warmest temperature and will bring the center forward. Ultramarine violet and translucent orange for another wash of the core shadow. Once again, I'm using a clean brush with clean water to wet the dry paint along the edge. The paper towel picks up the paint. I'm doing another wash of translucent orange to make the center of the onion come forward. I'm using ultramarine violet and orange paint that was already on my palette for another wash of the cast shadow. Aureolin and violet gray are used to make a greener yellow than the midtone, so the side will go back in space. I turn the board on its side so I can bring my brush downward to paint thin lines. Here I'm starting to work on the onion stem. This is another green-yellow to make the section go back in space. This is a brush with clean water to soften the edge of the cast shadow. Here I'm working on the core shadow of the stem. I used a dark purple at the base of the onion to integrate the cast shadow and the core shadow. To finish up, I added a very warm color to the stem to balance the translucent orange in the middle of the onion.